Hi everyone. Today we have Brian Johnson, the Executive Chairman of Antilles Gold with us to share about the new announcement on their third Cuban mine. Hi Brian, how are you?
Fine, thanks, Cyprus. Nice to talk to you.
Great, and nice to see you again. Just 2 weeks ago, Antilles Gold actually announced a JV on its second deposit in Cuba, and today we have a third. So tell us more about El Pilar Gold copper oxide deposit.
Okay, quite an interesting one. The El Pilar concession actually consists of 3 separate porphyry deposits. The concession is one of 30 that were offered to us by the Cuban government to select which ones we wanted. We've selected 2 so far and applied for a third. And El Pilar is one of the 2 that's included in an exploration agreement with our partner, Chairman. The property or the concession was selected by our exploration director, Dr. Chris Granger, who's a West Australian geologist, but has operated in Latin America for the last 25 years, and the last 12 of that focused on porphyry copper gold deposits in Colombia, where he's been very successful. So when Chris Granger looked at these various properties that were offered to us and walked the ground, had a look at the drilling results, he selected this particular property. El Pilar is one of 3. The concession is called El Pilar, but El Pilar porphyry is a deposit in its own right. There's about just under 400 holes drilled through that deposit. I think from memory, just under 50,000 metres, quite shallow, down on average to maybe 100, 120 metres. The drilling has been done through an oxide deposit cap that sits on top of the porphyry deposit, and the oxide deposit is 2 domains. There's a gold domain right on the surface and outcropping, and under that there is a leached high value copper deposit. And then both of those properties or deposits overlay the porphyry underneath. The shallow drilling picked up obviously the oxide cap, about 60 metres deep, and only drilled into the porphyry deposit to the extent of about another 60 metres. So it's only very shallow. But Chris determined this as having great potential. We have the advantage of previous aeromag surveys that have been done, and his estimate of the potential of the porphyry deposit is it's potentially up to about 500 million tonnes open pit potential. And of course, it's all about grades. The drilling program that we'll do starting later this month will go down to about 300 metres into the porphyry deposit. And if we replicate the grades that are obvious to us but can't be reported, but if the grades we've encountered in historic drilling are replicated at continuing depth, we've probably got ourselves a really significant project on our hands.
Thanks, Brian. And you guys did announce that this is yield 3 million gold and copper. Could you tell us more on what this means to shareholders in terms of cost?
Well, it's an interesting step for us. You talked about second and third projects. This will probably elevate itself into the second position because of the quantity of data that we have and the fact that we're going to start drilling it first. The project that we had contemplated going second, which was a VMS deposit, copper zinc, we need to do aeromag surveys and so forth. So the drilling for that will not happen until next year. But if the about to drill 14,000 metres shows us what we're anticipating, it replicates again previous drilling. The exploration target range that we published the other day shows a pretty attractive small property, only 3 million tonne, but on the upper side of the range, you're talking about 230,000 ounces of gold. I know that's not large, but there's also 54 million pounds of copper in that 60 top metres, and because it's very tabular, the shape, it's not steeply dipping. The stripping ratios will be very low, All we need to do is build effectively a concentrator. It's right alongside high tension power. We don't have to build a power plant or any of that sort of thing. It's close to townships. We don't have to build accommodation camps. It'll be a low cost project if it shapes up the resources as we would expect.
Great. I suppose free milling means we do not need any roasting or leaching in the process, just grinding and crushing of the ores.
Well, what it is the gold is, as we said in our announcements, free milling. What that means is that you can actually separate that gold through a gravity circuit, and then through a concentrator, like a flotation plant, to produce a concentrate. Now, some of that concentrate will be just sold off with some minor amounts of copper in it. Once we get into the copper zone, which has less gold and more copper, that will similarly go through the flotation plant and produce a copper concentrate, which is very saleable with gold credits. So very simple approach, very simple mine. No cyanide, no CIL. We might produce a doré from some part of the gold that we recover, but generally speaking, it low capital cost.
Fantastic. That really sounds like a very simple flow sheet and definitely ticking the ESG box without all those acid needed. So moving ahead, what should we be expecting from El Pilar over the next few months?
Just before I answer that, one of the important things for us on this particular project is the fact that it can be, we expect it to be fully funded by cash flow from our first mine, La de Mahagua, which will be commissioned in mid-2024. I'm hoping that this mine at El Pilar, the oxide mine only, relatively small, will be commissioned within a year, but could be fully funded by cash flow that we expect from La de Mahagua. But going to your question, what can you expect in the next 6 months or so of news in relation to El Pilar? Well, firstly, we'll start getting some drilling results coming through to us from September. They'll continue probably for about 4 or 5 months in reality. And the ones that we're most excited about, because we're very confident of the oxide, we're most excited about what we'll see from the porphyry deposit. So that will start happening in September. We should have a JORC resource for the oxide cap by the end of this year, and a scoping study early next year. And after that, we will start to contemplate a development, subject to it being positive, of course.
Thanks, Brian. Looks like it's a very busy second half of this year for you guys with the expanded portfolio now. So thanks so much for being here today to walk us through this announcement, and I hope to see you again soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks, Cyprus. Bye.